Namaskar. Hello and welcome to PGurus channel. I'm your host Sri Iyer, and I have today the pleasure of company of Elmer Yuan. Elmer is somewhere in Europe. I'm not going to disclose, but Elmer has been very busy. Elmer, your thoughts on the unfortunate assassination of Shinzo Abe. How are you, sir?
Fine. I think Mr. Abe is really the spiritual leader of the Japanese against the Chinese Communist Party. That's why I think your Prime Minister is right in trying to have a national mourning for his death. If you remember, before Donald Trump became the president, he was the president-elect. Abby went to Trump Tower in New York and went to see him and had a really private conversation with him, explaining to him the danger of the Chinese Communist Party and explained everything. Because after all, Donald Trump is a businessman. He may know a lot about the Chinese buying real property in the Manhattan and so on and so forth. But really, when it comes to the Chinese behind the scene, the conspiracy and how they bully Japan, and Japan really lost huge, and because of them. So I believe that that really persuaded Trump to start the trade war. Of course, he knew that China had never been traded fairly, but by hearing from Abe, really in presence, and also asking Pompeo to look into the Central CIA's information, that make him determined to fight the trade war, which is really the beginning of everything, because China was winning all the way, laughing to the bank, taking America's money, and almost getting influence all over the world. Just Europe. Now I'm in Europe. I remember at that time, UK, all right, England was worshipping China. Chinese Prime Minister 𝗤𝙧𝙤𝘀𝘀 came. He requests to stay in the Buckingham Palace, and then he wants to ride in a carriage, this horse carriage, with the gold paintings, gold platings. So they were really top of the world at that time. China agreed to build a nuclear plant for UK, and then to build the bullet train from north to, for instance, from Glasgow to London, and also willing to build a chip plant with Oxford University. So everything was hunky-dory. Of course, Huawei decided to set up their headquarters in London so that they can serve the entire Europe. So, of course, after Donald Trump became the president, and then the trade war, and then the warning against the UK. I remember that the Pompeo had a lot of difficulty persuading the British not to cooperate with China, especially in the 5G. Even today, UK is very much behind in 5G because they were counting on Huawei, and suddenly Huawei dropped out. Now they are going back to Nokia and Ericsson to get them to build the infrastructure. So what happened was, Abe was really the absolutely the key figure. I would say that of all the anti-communist leader, we should name him the number one. So even though I don't have the confidence, I still have certain suspicion that this murder, this assassination, has China behind the back. Already they found bombs and so on at the murderer's home. So it's not a one-man show. It's definitely it's a premeditated with a plan. And I wouldn't be surprised if China is behind it, because right now Japan is the bravest in fighting against China. Even they are really upfront against China, even more courageous than the American. I think between Japan and Taiwan, they have enough to defeat the Chinese Communist Party, their invasion, if they want to invade or start some trouble in there. So I wouldn't be surprised if it was ordered, the assassination was ordered from China. And of course, nobody will ever have any evidence, because all these crimes the Chinese communists have committed in the last 100 years, there's never any confidence and any evidence. So that's why. But we have to understand China has very, very heavily infiltrated Japan in the for a long, long time, for almost 30 years until Abe and Trump partnered together. And of course, now India, Australia, or even Korea has joined in. So he is really the mastermind against the Chinese Communist Party.
Elmer, viewers, for those of you who may not know this, Elmer's wife is from Japan, so he is always visiting Japan through his busy schedule. There's a lot of credence to what he has to say here. Elmer, my quick question is, they are saying that the first person who shot at him was mentally deranged. And why go in the front and then shoot? They could have used snipers. Why would they have done it such an open way?
No, sorry. What happened was there were two shots. The first shot was not really didn't hit the Abe, and then Abe turned around, and the second shot, which is fatal against his heart, that was the fatal shot. And I don't understand. No, normally in USA, normally the special agent or whatever should really cover themselves when they hear the first shot. First time is to get him down and then cover him with their own bodies. There were two men and one woman bodyguarding him, and then they have failed to do that practice. So I think these guys should be the kamikaze. You know what? You know kamikaze, right?
Yes.
Suicide. That's seriously, I'm not kidding. There's second shot killed him. Obvious second shot right at his heart. The first shot was very weak. Was only really a warning for him to turn around. So all the bodyguards should have surrounded him or at least stand behind him. So when he turned around, it should be the bodyguards covering him. So I just don't understand this whole thing. But anyway, he's dead, and it's a pity. But on the other hand, I don't know about your Indian system, but the Japanese have they don't have this Chinese imperial exam system. So their system of government position or even such high position is hereditary. So you can see they have at least 4 or 5 generations of prime ministers in the line, either from wife's side or husband's side. And the Japanese, they still believe, I don't know, is the India hereditary or
No, it used to be till the kings were ruling. After that, now it's a democracy, so it's not.
Now it's election. But Chinese in the ancient time, already almost for 2,000 years, we had the imperial exam, and then we picked the best to become government officials. But the Japanese do not. They go by if your grandfather is, you have a chance, and so on and so forth. And also they have very close marriage. You know, the Japanese, the people, they marry each other. So it's a problem also because it's too close, as you know. Too close marriage is bad for health. He has this Crohn's disease. You know, the Jewish also have this Crohn's disease, continuous bleeding, and that's why he has to resign 2 times. And then now you cannot go to meeting all the time, walking, rushing here, rushing there. The bleeding never stopped. So this Crohn's disease is hereditary, and so that's why he retired. He should still be he's already the longest serving prime minister in Japanese history, and I believe he should still be. But anyway, I don't think many people will openly suspect the CCP is involved. I would dare to say there's a good chance. And one thing I like to tell your audience, you always say, Elmer, now you come with conspiracy again. I understand now, but there is a word, there is a sentence your Indian audience must learn on the communist. There's only things that you cannot imagine. There is nothing they would do. The Chinese, the CCP would do anything. And the only thing, your only worry is you don't have enough imagination. This is the way to judge the communists. You know, we are all nice people, universal value, and so on. We would not dare to imagine they can do such crazy thing. Yet every time we're wrong, because we have a limit to what we suspect. But every time we're wrong, they go way beyond suspect. There is no bottom line with the CCP. That's why I tell you, don't fear, don't be afraid to imagine their conspiracy to the level of their conspiracy. I mean, let me give you a few examples. Nobody thought they would take back Hong Kong. Are they stupid? You know, Hong Kong is the golden geese, right? Why take back Hong Kong? If you imagine all these things they do, why they piss off America? All right? America is the source of all their money, all their wealth. Other countries is just the balance of trade. But America has given them everything. You want trade surplus, you want IPO, you want loans, as much as they want. They made from U.S. a total of almost $20 trillion in the last 30 years. And it's not a joke. And and then you suddenly, the virus, all right? Oh, they will never do the virus. It's an accident, all right? And then some people say from animal. Now even the WHO think it's from the lab. And why the lab? Why the gain of function? Why? I mean, seriously, it may be a leak by accident, but why they spend so much money to research? That building alone, that P4 lab, cost just in hardware 500 million RMB to build. Took them 10 years to build with the French design. All right. And just for gain of function, just for developing vaccine. I mean, this is our problem. Sorry, it is our problem. And they have fought the war with you. And you guys understand how vicious these people were. It's beyond your imagination. So don't be afraid to think about them as a conspiracy and prepare for that. The worst case is you have prepared too much, but then you will not get caught. All right, for I'm underprepared. So please, I'm telling my audience, my Hong Kong people are as nice as your audience. All right, they're normal people who are not vicious, will never do anything like that. So their imagination is limited.
One question that comes to me, Elmer, is you said that Shinzo Abe was suffering from the Crohn's disease, constant bleeding, and that means that he was really not running Japan. He could not be in the running for the prime minister. He was probably an advisor. Why now? I mean, this is now 15 years since whatever happened, or 10 years since.
No. Sorry. I don't understand the Indian system, to be honest with you. One day I'd like to visit you. But both China and Japan, the power is always behind the scene. The power is never up front. Li Keqiang now fighting with Xi Jinping on a daily basis. There's huge power behind. This is even, in the Qing dynasty, I'm sure you saw the movie Last Emperor.
Yes, I need to see it again.
Yeah, it's the emperor's dowager. So this is very normal. Clever people pull the string behind. That's just like Biden. Biden is the man in front. There's Obama, Susan Rice, and even maybe Hillary or Pelosi behind. So this is very normal. So he is the power. His brother is the defense minister of Japan, and everybody belonged to him. But it took him a long time because 10 years ago, Japan was very pro-China. China have its way. All the Japanese kowtow to China because China is such a big market. All right. And also they felt kind of guilty because of the Second World War, the invasion. But then Abe is the one who turned things around. They said we cannot just be a defensive country anymore. All right. He understood what the Xi Jinping is trying to do, and the Chinese were plotting. The Japanese, all their technology was lost in China. In the old days, everything is made in Japan. When we were kids, all right, even your watch, your car, all your appliances at home, everything is made in Japan. Then they
Cars,
went to
televisions, and calculators. Right.
then they went
Yeah.
to China. They lost everything: air conditioning, you name it, refrigerator, washing machine, cooking machine, you name it. All right, microwave oven, everything. Now, how come? Now you buy mostly from China. All right, the famous brand from China, because all the technology was stolen, and then they were kicked out of China after they finished everything. I was involved. I was the vice chairman for Sanyo. So I know how they stole things. And the Japanese, they don't resort to law. So quietly they left. And this is part of the problem, the so-called the 30 years, the lost 30 years of Japan. Partly because they went to spend all that money to buy a lot of US assets, which have no meaning. But the other part is all their technology, it's not very high tech, but it's still technology, was stolen. All right, now Japan doesn't have much left. Only maybe the car, they're still strong, and a lot of components. Japan had the power to be the number one in mobile phone. Unfortunately, they lost it to US. The number one in PC. Again, they don't have a good operating system. They lost it to US. And then now electric cars. They went for hydrogen when the world was willing to accept electric car, lithium batteries. So again, they are losing. So Japanese is in a pretty dangerous situation. And on July 10th, there will be an election of Japanese upper house, Senate. And they need 2/3 to be able to change the constitution, to change from a defensive system into a normal military system. So right now, they are not allowed to attack or to
The US
counter.
made sure of that. Yeah.
So it's changing, and I'm not surprised that Abe is the force to get everybody elected. It's like Donald Trump, like now helping everybody to get elected. Abe is doing exactly the same thing in Japan. He needs a 2/3 majority to change their constitution, and this is a critical time. If he gets the 2/3, then Japan will become a normal country, and they together, just Japan and Taiwan is strong enough to fight China. You don't even need America.
Is there any references? Are there any articles sort of similar to echoing what you're observing? Have you seen anything in the media that says that there may be more going on than what meets the eye?
Siri, I know more than these newspapers. I'm not kidding. Because first I've been to Japan more than 200 times. I worked with the Japanese 10 years ago.
You are Japan's son-in-law, my friend.
Son-in-law. But anyway, 10 years ago, already they were prepared. Japan, if you give them time, I would say I wouldn't be surprised. Japan is already militarily to enter into a war. They've been saving up their nuclear waste and have been processing secretly. So they can come out with a nuclear missile in no time. It's all done. All right, it's all done. They have, before, remember the Second World War, they were the biggest navy, not America. Only after they attacked Pearl Harbor, then America came back. Japan already had 10 carriers. How many carriers you have? Maybe one or two. But even at the 1940s, the Japanese, before they attack Pearl Harbor, they already have more than 10
aircraft carriers. Yeah,
and they invented aircraft carrier. Let's be honest, and also submarines. During the Pearl Harbor, they have a whole team of submarine under the water, but nobody talk about it. So people have totally, but Japanese are not like the communists boasting. They don't boast. Everything, a secret is a secret. Every person in the country, look how they did the Pearl Harbor. Can you imagine travel halfway around the Pacific that nobody knew, and the radio silence to attack Pearl Harbor? This is how good they are in keeping a secret. That's why you asked me for publication. It's not available. But 10 years ago, I've been talking to the military establishment, such as Hitachi, Kawasaki. They call it heavy industry. All right. They were already have a total understanding. They were preparing for war 10 years ago. but nobody knows. I was talking to them privately. I overheard what they say. All right. I visited most of them because I have some technology that can be used for military. So please understand. Very quiet, very secretive, different from Beijing. Beijing basically boasts, but the Japanese never kept their mouth shut. Very secret. So you need to ask your maybe I don't know. India and Japan is a long way, but you should really know and ask the experts. I'm not making it up.
Well, Modi is really shaken. He normally just puts out one tweet about a leader's demise. He had a series of tweets about Abe because he had met him even when he was a state's chief minister, when he was not the prime minister of the country. So clearly, it has touched a raw nerve, and I think we are trying to open the eyes of the people and don't take our word for it. See how things play out. Most important thing is that there were two bullets. I read that both bullets pierced the heart. You don't think so?
Both what?
Both bullets
Bullets.
pierce the heart. Pierce the heart.
But I send you a video right now. I have a video. One shot
Okay,
from the back, and then he turned around and then got the second shot.
I
All right.
see.
And the first shot, if you see the video clip, it's more like a warning rather than a fatal shot.
Okay. Yeah, please go ahead and send that shot. I mean, it will be useful to keep it. Let's take a quick look at something else happening in America, Elmer.
Yes.
I want your thoughts on in April of this year, after the sanctions were put in place to Russia, Biden withdrew 5 million barrels of crude from the Strategic Petroleum Reserve and sent it to China, Sinopec. And turns out that in Sinopec, Hunter Biden has an investment. What do you make of this? I mean, on the one side, US is preaching to the whole world that you should not be dealing with Russia, and then they go and sell it to China, and then China in turn says, we will not deal with Russia, but China has been getting oil all the time from Russia.
There are so many deals going on. But one thing you must remember, the reason for US high price is not only the crude price, but also the limitation of refinery. Because US have not built any refinery since the last century, 70s. So what happened is in US, there are more crude than gasoline. There are more crude. So it's not really too wrong to send out your crude to other countries and let them process. That can also bring the price down. But to send it to China, that is the biggest mistake in the world. And you see, this is the problem. They always have a kickbacks and this and that. So somebody is getting money, obviously. I mean, you send the crude out because you have limited refinery capacity. But the problem is, it's so many good things going on. And sometimes they even, last time they buy crude from Russia. I mean, what the hell? You have your own thing, and then you don't explore your own fracking, and then you go and buy from Russia. There is so much dirty business going on. I mean, all countries the same. I don't think your country is any exception.
and so many snafus happening. Biden is reading from a teleprompter, and he reads the line which says repeat the line, and he literally reads repeat the line. One wonders what kind of state he is in. And to make it even worse, the vice president is going and talking as if she's talking to a fifth grader or even a 5-year-old child. This is not how a vice president should be communicating. I can't understand. I mean, the more I see the two together, the more I'm convinced that the people are, operating them.
They are just, by the string, puppet by the string.
Exactly. It's really, really concerning when you see the world's most important or most powerful power, and this is what is happening to the world. And none of the media, CNN is not writing about it. I haven't even seen anything from Fox. What this news I got was from a relatively less read website. So, I mean, now India has picked up this, but everybody goes back to one source, which is why I wanted to ask your opinion. So, Thank you so much, Elmer, and safe travels. And I want to tell our viewers, please like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Don't take our word for it, but we know that Elmer has been right. All along, a lot of things that he has been saying, he has been proven right. And again, like he said, you will not find the smoking gun in a Chinese ambassador's house or something like that. But clearly, there is something that we need to be able to look at in more detail. Let's wait and see what details emerge. Clearly, that is true what he said, that more ammunition was found in the person's house, but that he was mentally deranged, that is the part that I think the Japanese need to look at. Also, why was the bodyguard detail so bad? I mean, Shinzo Abe is the most recognized Japanese name outside the world, outside of Japan. Now, that kind of begs the question, why was it so sloppy? Especially when they were coming.
Also, one more sentence. He was ready to help India with the weapons. Yes. I think there's a cooperation going on, Australia, Japan, and India. Basically, I mean, you know very well your Russian weapon is our crabs need to be totally renewed with the American standard. So, they are willing to, US was willing to give the technology, but to share by these countries, right? Are you part of the AUKUS?
No, not AUKUS, but Quad. Not AUKUS, but Quad. Okay. But you Quad is what
they're afraid of you joining because, again, they're afraid of military information leaked to the Russian. So somehow I think you should take a position. I'm talking about India as a country. You should take a position. You cannot just today here and tomorrow there. So you don't have trust from both sides.
Absolutely, absolutely. And thank you very much for those kind words of wisdom. We have been saying that. I get a lot of flack for saying that you need to look past Russia, but that's okay. This is what it is. This is what it is. I mean, today the world is changing very, very fast. And those of us who can see the change are just warning that if you don't change, you're going to be having trouble ahead. Thank you very much, Elmer. And as always,
thank you very much. Thank you. Bye-bye.